Hello everyone, welcome to Game Junk Prototype episode 52, recording on Thursday, March 11th, 2021. My name is Frank.
My name is Sean.
And my name's Andrew.
And a huge press conference today with Xbox and Bethesda becoming official partners, or Bethesda being acquired by Microsoft. We're going to be talking about that and all of the blockbuster announcements that were revealed. Anyway, I got a lot of opinions about it, but we are wearing. You'll have to get into the juicy details of that discussion soon. But we, inspired by that, we are wearing our Silicon Knights hockey jerseys. All wearing the black version. I only had the black version. Sean and Andrew also had white ones at one point. They played hockey with people at Silicon Knights.
And I must say, mine still smells like hockey.
Yeah, mine came right out of my hockey bag, so it's not smelling so great.
I just got it because the email went out when I had just started at the company, and I'm like, yeah, I want one way too bad, and got my gamer tag on it. There we go. Dirty Frank with 3 R's and dirty. Takes up a huge amount of real estate on my back, but I think I've worn it one other time in my life other than right now, so
Beautiful.
It finally came in handy. And you'll know why we're wearing them if you stay tuned. But you guys doing all right? We ready to get into this topic? Anything else you want to bring up?
Well, I just had one question. How did you guys celebrate Mario Day?
By deleting spam emails from Nintendo.
Yeah, I totally even forgot that it was yesterday.
I saw the email. I clicked the shop link and then saw that the games were all still like $60 and closed the tab.
And of course, the only ones that were on sale were the ones I already own. None of the ones that I actually want. And I'm not just talking new ones, like old ones that I want, like new Super Mario Brothers, a couple of those, and there was another one too. I'm like, okay, well, guess I'm not buying anything. There's no way I'm paying $80 for any of these games at this point in time. It will never happen. Lower the price of your games.
It's pretty weak effort from Nintendo this year, gotta say.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the topic du jour. The hour and a half long, almost, stroke fest between Microsoft and Bethesda executives and marketing people, where, I mean, to be fair, they said there was not going to be any new announcements, but, I mean, it really, we juice episodes, you want to talk about juicing content. This was the ultimate juice as far as I'm concerned. This was a whole lot of nothing. Celebrating every studio that we have. Again, basically, just a reminder, in case you forgot, we announced this thing just before our pre-orders went on sale, hopefully trying to get people interested in the console. You know, it's been a while since we've talked about it. Absolutely nothing's come of it, although, to be fair, it wasn't official. So just a reminder, we might make things exclusive in the future, or we will make some things exclusive. We don't know which things yet, but it's going to happen, so you better pre-order if you can for one of these consoles. So there were some actual announcements that we'll get into, but, I guess maybe let's start off with the first announcement, and then people can give their opinions. Many Bethesda games coming to Xbox Game Pass tomorrow, although we just checked, or Sean checked and Andrew checked, they are on there now. 20 games, apparently, although some were already on. Like Doom Eternal was already on there and some of the other games, but no Doom 2016. I didn't even realize that until now. No The Evil Within 2. Still a lot of great games. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this... were you enthralled by this presentation? Did you think it was huge? I mean, no one's really talking about it, so I don't think it's...
Yeah, I'm
juicing this topic big time, but...
Yeah, when I did a search for it, it was actually hard to find. Not on YouTube itself, but if I just Googled Microsoft Bethesda press conference, nothing was coming up. So, seemed like not too many people were talking about it, but the Game Pass announcement is cool. Like you said, some of them were on there already. But I am definitely disappointed that Doom 2016 is not on there. That would have been the top of my list of what I wanted to play. And the other thing is I'm kind of pissed because I just bought the definitive edition of Dishonored last week. It was on sale on PSN. And I've never played the Dishonored games. I have no idea why. I just suddenly was like, you know what? It's time to get into Dishonored. And then now it's on Game Pass. So I don't know.
I can't wait to see what getting into a game means for Sean. It's time to get.
We'll see. I mean,
it's time to give it the old 10-minute
I'm making more
try.
progress in games
That's true.
Past year than I have in many, many years. So
that is 100% true. Will not deny that at all.
For me, yeah, it was just a big bunch of nothing. I mean, I watched on, I think, like 2.5 speed and was skipping constantly along. So, I mean, for me, it was only like half an hour, if that. But it was still long. There was still a lot of stuff that I didn't really care about. I mean, to be fair, though, they didn't call it a press conference. They called it like a Microsoft Bethesda Roundtable. So I think they did kind of set the expectations properly with that name. They didn't really like go out of their way to announce it really loudly, it seemed, either. I didn't even know about it until you sent that message, Frank, this morning at like 11 in the morning. So
it did seem like a gentle reminder that this partnership happened and is official now. And what better way to do that than over an hour and a half? Like, that's exactly what it needs.
Yeah.
Well, I was saying that I think, Sony and Nintendo just had press events and Microsoft was feeling left out. They were like, we gotta have something.
Okay, so let's get into whatever scraps of meat are on this bone. Let's tear into it. So we already talked about the Game Pass. That was a little like solid,
and we're done.
Solid chunk of beef. We got some other
you didn't
cartilage and fat here we can nibble on.
Were there any games that you were looking forward to there, Frank? I mean, I've been the old Doom games you wanted to play, right?
Yeah. I was actually thinking of buying, like, I probably have them on Steam. Like, I don't know why I'm looking to buy them.
I have every version of Doom on everything imaginable except for the Switch.
And I think it's great that it's on PC, so it's I can get achievements and play with keyboard and mouse, which is nice. That's probably, but I mean, I wouldn't mind trying Prey again. I tried it when it first came out, and I think I tried it for like 2 hours or so, and it didn't really hook me. So I know everyone seems to love that game, so I wouldn't mind giving that one another try.
I think they added a Souls-like DLC or roguelike DLC for Prey as well that I'm kind of curious about.
Familiar.
But I mean, I can't play Prey. It's like jump scare central. Like, any object can be possessed by something. Although the video that they showed today in the clips had, like, when you possess certain things, like you could be I think a coffee cup. There was one that was a toilet paper roll that I thought actually looked really interesting. So I was intrigued.
Super interesting.
But it did. It looked like it had an interesting locomotion mechanic as a toilet paper roll. I liked it.
Guess it rolls?
Yeah, but it was cool. Come on, relax, man.
I think why I think I jumped or bounced off that game is that it's you have to really think out of the box, I think, to solve some of the puzzles, and it's such like kind of a wide open space station. I think that I'm all about hand holding, and please lead me along this journey. So I think those open-ended games are not quite for me, but I wouldn't mind giving it another go.
This isn't like a super solid theory by me, and I can't pinpoint exactly what I'm saying, but I think I know why I don't love Bethesda games, although I have been playing Doom 2016 today, and I do love that game. But in general, if I could say like why they just are a little off for me, or they don't seem to be games I love, they seem to be games that are meant to be played on PC, and they've kind of moved to console. And I think they were talking about this with Morrowind, maybe. Like, they had Xbox port that initially. Like, they feel like PC developers, and it's never quite been intended, their systems, for console and like playing with a controller. And where I think the games I love, Nintendo and PlayStation, seem to be designed with console in mind first. And I don't know how much credibility there is to this idea, but it's like a thread of an idea that I think there might be something to that.
I would say it's very credible. I don't know if you remember the PS3 Skyrim debacle, where the save file would just like become exponentially large and you couldn't load anything because the save file would just have too much shit. Like if you dropped anything, they saved it.
Yeah.
So if you dropped a ton of shit in the game, it remembered where it was and it just grew the save file so large that it couldn't even load it. So
that was a saving issue on PlayStation as well, right? Because that was definitely same company, different developer. Rage had that on PlayStation, where doing your quick saves on that game was like so painful. I quit playing. Mega Texture for the win. We gotta love it, right, Carmack?
Oh, of course.
All right. So a few other things to discuss here. Something that they mentioned, this has been talked about before, but they put it out there. FPS boost on a lot of these older games seems to be a thing that might be happening in the near future. So using Series X to get performance or FPS boost to a lot of games, just using hardware and emulation or whatever they're doing to run those games. So not a huge deal. When I was playing Doom 2016 today, it was running amazing and looked fantastic on the Series X. I don't know if there are built-in enhancements to that game or 4K stuff, but I thought it looked great.
But if you think about that, that's pretty interesting because, I mean, you essentially have a program running that's a black box, and you are somehow able to, open it up a bit and boost. So when they say boost, I don't know what they mean. Are they just going to kind of like increase, basically double the frames that the game runs in, so it's kind of like running faster, but then slow down the rendering, so you render like 2 frames? Like, I'm not understanding how.
The only thing I can think of is like certain games like maybe have different ways that they limited their frame rate or capped it or whatever they did based on hardware, and maybe I think it's just going to work with some and not with others, or games that use certain engines potentially, like there's an easy way to tap into that setting or something like that, or it's saved in metadata rather than something in the code itself that they can adjust that metadata somehow. I don't know, but
yeah, it's very interesting though. It'll be interesting to see how much of a boost like certain games get from that, because I'm not really sure how you would do that. I'd have to think on it.
It could be all BS for all we know. Like, there was a lot of marketing stuff just being thrown out there.
Well, I don't know. They did get backwards compatibility working, and they were not supposed to be able to. So I would say the engineers at Microsoft are quite advanced in this regard. I mean, Sony took 15 years to figure out how to change your fucking PlayStation name. Like, give me a break. Like, that should be a one field change. Like, who ties like a key in a database to a real name? Like, that's just stupid. Who would ever think to do that? Like, that's databases 101. So, like, I don't know. I have a lot more faith in the Microsoft engineers than I do in the Sony engineers. And so I think this is probably not BS. I think they have figured something out to actually unlock like the frame rate boost in these games.
Well, if there's one thing you don't do in today's social media culture is say something and not deliver it. So if they're saying it, I have a feeling, at least for some games, it's going to happen. They know it works for some games. So
the way they brought it up too is sort of like a humble brag. Like, oh, we're not supposed to say anything about this. We got FPS boost on all the games. Like, okay.
So the only other not major, but insightful thing that may be, I don't know how much this factored into the valuation or acquisition of the company in terms of how much it was sold for, but Phil, there's 2 more things. I lied. Phil basically said ID tech, and alluding to the fact that a lot of id tech, sorry.
Get it right.
I know, that was embarrassing. I truly am sorry.
What are you talking
ID
about?
tech. Jeez Louise. id Tech talking about multiple games in Bethesda using it, and I kind of get the feeling they might be thinking about maybe opening it up to other companies, licensing it, using it as an entry point to compete with Epic and Unity. Seems like it could be a pretty good idea and a way to even pull more indie developers and AA developers, AAA developers into the Xbox publishing system or something like that. I don't know. Seems like an interesting idea to leverage, and it's not surprising. They're obviously aware of it, but they tease that idea, at least in some form, in this video today.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like the way they were talking about how, all the Bethesda studios share tech and collaborate and stuff sounded kind of cool. I mean, to think of taking it that and then expanding it across all the other Microsoft studios, like that's you certainly could see a lot of value in that. I don't know. It seems odd to me to think that id is cool with just like throwing their tech out there for everyone to use. Like, I mean,
doesn't matter.
I guess it's not their choice at this point.
That's right.
But then, the flip side of that is like, okay, so now, like, what if Microsoft said, hey, let's give like Gears to id or something? Like I wonder if something like that could happen where you start taking some of their other franchises and handing it over to Bethesda Studios and seeing what they do with it. And that could be interesting too.
Well,
yeah,
I
mean, it could happen, of course. Gears, unless the coalition like really goes downhill or something like that. Is that who makes Gears?
I think they're making the next one.
No, that's the new
Currently,
studio,
yeah.
Isn't it? Who makes
that's the
Gears?
new studio. Well, it was the coalition. I'm pretty sure.
It was. Oh,
Gears
okay.
5.
Anyway.
Yeah. But from a financial standpoint, I think that makes perfect sense. I mean, I don't think anyone would want to work with like the Skyrim tech, but I mean, people would definitely want to work with id Tech 5 or whatever if they're up to id Tech 6. And from a financial standpoint, for Microsoft, it makes perfect sense because you don't have to pay any licensing fees to Unreal or Unity. So you save that 5% or 15% or whatever it is. I can't remember exactly what it is for each, but you also get this really good piece of tech. Now, obviously, there would be some ramp up for other studios, but you'd want to think that any studio that is making first-person games may want to transition into figuring out the tools for id Tech. I mean, they obviously have a strong technology team, which is part of the reason why you use an off-the-shelf engine, so you don't have to have your own tech team that develops all this technology. So if you have id Tech throwing out games like Doom Eternal and even Doom 2016 that are really top-shelf games, it seems like if you have their full support, it would be a no-brainer to do that and save that 5%, especially if you're aiming for more AAA games that are going to make millions and millions of dollars. That 5% is quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, the counterpoint to id Tech going wider release would be Microsoft has billions of dollars and thousands of programmers that are really good at this stuff that if they really wanted to do that, they could have invested in it earlier. It's not like they didn't have, they could have considered this idea at some point anyway, and clearly we're partnering with Unreal at some point and other companies, so it might not even be something they're interested in, but it was mentioned, so I thought it was worth bringing it up. All right, so I kind of buried the lead here, the thing I wanted to talk about the most, because I didn't have a note about it. And this was courtesy of Phil. And he said, like, he set this thing up, like, I want to be as direct about this as possible. A lot of people have been asking about exclusivity and what's going to happen with this acquisition, and then went on to basically make it more confusing than ever, saying there's a lot of existing games and fan bases that we don't want to disappoint, but we will be pursuing exclusive games in the future with, okay, I already knew everything you just said. If anything, the first announcement, which was we'll be handling this on a case-by-case basis, was perfect. nothing like to preamble that with saying, I don't want to muddy the waters here. I want to be perfectly clear. It couldn't be less clear. I don't know if I'm the only one who felt that. Like,
I mean, I think it was still kind of vague, but I think it did feel to me like he was making more of a commitment to exclusivity on the Xbox side. Like, it's certainly, we don't know what games or franchises he's talking about, but it sounded to me like, okay, we've got some commitments and things left over that are kind of in the works right now, but moving forward, this stuff's all going to be exclusive. That's kind of what it felt like to me, but he didn't totally come out and say that.
Why would you buy them?
I got that
Unless there really is some, like, the install base for PlayStation gets insane, and it's like, well, we're losing a lot of money by not publishing these. Or, like we talked about previously, potential 1-year exclusives or 2 years or something like that. I mean, they're going to be exclusive.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, they did mention that they've, got some of their other first-party games on other systems. And I mean, I'm trying to think how many others are like that. I guess, like, I think Ori's on Switch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Steam.
So
Cuphead's on PlayStation.
Right. Like, is it mostly the indie stuff, though? Like, or, because I think...
other than Minecraft, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know that really means much. Like, clearly they do not want to piss people off right now. Like, I think they want to sort of subtly boost Xbox without necessarily pissing off fans of these franchises. But, I mean, a lot of people are really out there still hoping that these games are coming to PS4 and PS5. I mean, I don't even know totally what's in the works right now. I know there's a couple new IPs. I assume something like a Dishonored 3 and another Doom game are probably in the works.
I think the ones they're probably most worried about pissing people off is the next Elder Scrolls and Starfield, or Starlink, or whatever it's called, Starfield.
Right.
And those are definitely going to be exclusive.
I don't know. Do you think so?
Yes.
I guess they probably will be, yeah. I guess that would make sense.
Elder Scrolls I could see going either way, but I think new IP will be exclusive. That seems like a easy, clean cut. So,
but I think the idea of doing like a year exclusive or something like that, I think makes sense. Because that way you get all the people that are really excited to play the game, and then you can expose yourself to everyone else as well. But I don't know. Sony is just starting to dabble with that, with releasing games on Steam and whatnot, and so maybe Microsoft will just stick it with their PC Windows store, and that's it. That'll be maybe the only other platform they have. Who knows?
Yeah, like I can't see something like Doom not being on PC, obviously, but I mean, they a lot of their games are on PC already through Game Pass, right? So
yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
And I mean, the only other thing that really happened was basically going through every studio they acquired. I don't know if this was like just kind of like, look at all the studios we got. I mean, for people who just kind of saw it as one name, Bethesda, and not really understanding how many things come along for that ride or entities.
I would say that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Especially all the different types of games they have. I mean, most of them are first-person shooters, but
yeah,
there is a lot. There's quite a bit of catalog.
For sure. And the reason why we're wearing the hockey jerseys is because one of the ones that was mentioned I really wasn't aware of. It's a Nova Scotia company called Alpha Dog Games, apparently a mobile developer that was acquired by Bethesda pretty recently. And they were saying they have hockey jerseys, amazing hockey jerseys, and they're the only company, or maybe first company, to have their own hockey jerseys. And like, nope.
Definitely
Fake
not.
news.
Fake news.
Silicon Knights.
Only active company to have their own hockey jersey.
That could be true.
Hey, I think Silicon Knights is technically still incorporated and active.
I don't know, to be honest, but
have no employees.
Had to find an excuse to break out these amazing jerseys.
Designed by Tim Anderson, I believe, right? Artist at Silicon Knights. Was it not?
I don't know.
Tim.
I don't
Is
remember.
that the wrong name? Tim? I thought it was Tim Anderson. I think he's working at Ubisoft now in Montreal.
Shout out to Tim. Hope it was you that designed it.
I don't know.
Let me make sure that's the right person.
I don't remember that name at all. So
No, he was a
remember.
concept guy.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, he's a senior concept artist at Ubisoft now. Yeah, I got it right, of course.
Well, that's fine. I didn't not believe you, but I knew other Andersons
he
and I
also
knew
played
other
hockey.
Tims, so I was like,
Yeah, he also played hockey, so I mean, Sean and I would have run into him a lot more.
all right. Anything else to say about this groundbreaking partnership?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they did, I guess the other thing, they did say there will be announcements coming this summer.
Yeah, they
With
were
regards to
saying that a lot.
new
A lot of
games.
jokes between the marketing people about, we'll have something by the end of summer. And okay, whatever. I don't care. We'll talk about it then. Until then, who gives a shit? We're moving on.
Yeah.
All right. One other little thing that I think you were both excited about. I watched it and was kind of excited too. A new retro Turtles beat 'em up game coming soon from the developers of the Scott Pilgrim game, I think,
Streets of Rage 4, I think.
and Streets of Rage 4.
Yeah, tribute games.
Tribute
I think.
games, okay. I knew Sean would know. Was hanging there for a bit, but I clearly.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is what it's called.
And when I saw the first screenshots, I'm like, this feels a little off. When I watched the trailer, it seemed a bit closer. I don't know, the size of the sprites and proportions of the sprites aren't quite on point with those old arcade games. They're a little different, just different enough that it's rubbing me a little wrong. I'm like, this is not exactly what I expected this to be. Still looks okay. I mean, they have the throwing foot soldiers at the screen. That's cool, I guess. And the music sounded pretty good. But, I mean, I'm mildly excited for it. But you guys seem to be, or maybe your children seem to be very excited.
Yeah, I think the sprite animation is quite a bit more exaggerated than the old games. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's what you're seeing. But yeah, I mean, I showed my kids right now, basically their routine is finish school, go outside, come inside and play Ninja Turtles. on like either I've got the Sega Genesis set up with the Hyperstone Heist or the other one on Super Nintendo, Turtles in Time, I think, or something. So they kind of like switch between which one they're playing, and they are in love with it. Like my one son is just like coloring Ninja Turtles all the time. So I showed them that, and they were like, "Can you buy it right now?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know when it's going to be out." And they're like, "Can you buy it as soon as it comes out?" I was like, "Yes." And then we had to watch the trailer like 6 more times in a row, and then they ran off singing the Ninja Turtles theme song. So it was a big hit.
Hopefully it comes to the library, children.
No, I'll purchase that. That'll be a purchase.
Yeah, well, my kids are like kind of past the Ninja Turtle phase, but I don't know. They kind of still like every now and then get back into it, and
Past the Ninja Turtle phase.
Not past like
I was a
as in,
turtle
like,
head.
They're too old for it or something. I just mean like they were into it. They moved on to something else. They'll probably come back again, but I showed them the trailer. They like the look of it. So
I was going to say those are some young kids to be starting and ending turtle headdom.
well, is there even like a current active show right now?
I think so.
I don't recall, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited just because I actually want like a game that's very similar to the old arcade games, but then just a little bit of like modern. What's the word I'm looking for?
Flair?
Quality of life?
Quality of life, yeah. Just like give me a little bit more, gameplay friendly stuff, a few new moves and cool things that they didn't have before, and I will be very happy. So
the other thing people were talking about was the new theme by Mike Patton. Gotta say, I prefer the original.
So a guy I'm working with right now researched it, and apparently those original recordings were destroyed. for that
Really?
original theme song. Yeah, for that cartoon.
Huh.
What a disaster.
That's
I was
kinda
like,
crazy.
just rip it off YouTube and then play it anyways. Like, play it over top. Who cares?
Yeah, sounds a little. I'm not buying it. I am not buying that at all.
Seems hard to believe, definitely. But yeah, so this is coming out sometime this summer, I think, is what the release window
I didn't
is.
see a date. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, neither did I.
Yeah, not sure.
That would probably make sense, though.
I was hoping it was going to be like available now because there's
Yeah.
not a lot of stuff out. I feel like it could have been huge.
Now, did you guys end up trying Streets of Rage 4?
I did at one point. Yeah, I didn't love it.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
played a bit of it.
I really enjoyed it, so I'm pretty excited. I think these guys will do a good job.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Want to get into what we played or anything else people want to discuss?
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. I don't have much, so someone else can go first if they want.
I could go first. I actually, in the Bethesda mold or whatever, I actually started playing Fallout New Vegas, which I had never played, and I was enjoying the first little open part. I kind of liked its open natureness. It's definitely clunky. It's everything I expected from the technology end, where animations are stiff. Dogs just go running off into clumps of enemies and die. But then it's kind of funny. Then you talk to their owner after, and they're like, "Why did he run off into that clump of dogs?" I'm like, "Well, at least the game knows about it." It's not just like the AI is completely stupid. But yeah, it's I've been enjoying it a little bit. I mean, I only played for an hour, but it was a nice little RPG kind of exploration game. But it does feel like every other newer Fallout game I've played. Like, that intro is very similar. Come out of the starting area and explore the town, then explore the next town, then explore the town after that, maybe come back and forth with the fast travel. But I mean, it is what it is. And I've heard this one is the best one of all the kind of newer Fallouts, like Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 and this one. So I'm gonna probably keep playing it if I have some time. But yeah, I've been liking it.
I just cannot get into Fallout. I don't get them.
I've struggled too, as well.
Yeah, I feel like I should like them, and I mean, I think the only one I really played at all was Fallout 3, and maybe some of them have, had some improvements that would have made it more enjoyable for me, so maybe I should give it another shot, but...
I didn't want to come in too hot when we were talking earlier, but Bethesda might be the most overrated company.
Okay.
I like Doom. I haven't beat any of the new ones. Other than that, I can't remember the last Bethesda game I beat. Maybe
Dishonored?
Well, no, I beat Wolfenstein, I think, but I really wasn't loving it. I thought it was pretty good. So, anyway, I pocketed that hot take only to bring it out earlier on the show. Or later on the show, pardon me. I guess I'll just piggyback on that and say I did play some of Doom 2016 today, and I really liked it when I played it. I don't know why I've never finished it. I think I always got hung up on getting every achievement or using a trophy guide, and I'm not doing that this time. I'm just going in on Xbox, doing a first play, just having fun, playing games as I used to when I was a child. And I'm hoping that lets me finish it, and then I'll go get every trophy and platinum it on PlayStation if I like the game. But I love the fast-paced combat of Doom, and every design decision encourages movement and fast action. So I really like it. I need to finish it this time and move on to Doom Eternal, which I think looks really good.
Yeah, so I haven't played the 2016 one, but I did try a little bit of Doom Eternal like a month or two ago. And I'm curious, I don't know if... So does Doom 2016, does it have kind of exploration stuff in it? That was the thing that surprised me about Doom Eternal. Yes, the combat is cool and very fast-paced, and there's a lot of stuff going on there, but it felt... I don't want to say Metroid-esque, but like just a tiny bit. Like it felt like there, you exploring off the corners of the map and stuff, you would find things like they were kind of encouraging you to do that. So
I mean, I'm in the first level, so I think it's scaling up as you go, from what I remember. But I mean, the map is a potentially better version of Metroid Prime's map, and yeah, it encourages exploration for sure. It's not just corridors like old Doom games, but original Doom was like that too, right? They wanted you to find secrets, and it was smaller levels, but definitely encouraged exploration.
Yeah. I'll have to check that one out too, I guess. But yeah, sounds good. So a couple quick things to mention. So I actually went back to Maquette, believe it or not, after we talked about it last week. Strangely, I don't even know how I got back into it again. I think the kids got into it somehow. Like they had seen me playing it, and then they were like, "Oh, we want to try that weird miniature big version of the game that you were playing." And I was like, "Okay." And then they got into it, and then I got into it again. So like I'm actually like close to the end now, but it is like, I don't know,
it's
man.
clunky.
It's clunky. We were skipping all the story stuff. Like I wasn't into it. Like, whenever the little cutscenes happen.
This game was definitely created for you to skip the story. There's no, I'm joking. The whole point is supposed to be the story, right?
I guess, but like we said before, like the story and the actual gameplay are very separate, not related. Like there's parts where I would get stuck at, and I'd go back to like the little journal entry things that are written, and I'd be like, is this a clue? Does this mean anything? No, it doesn't. It's completely irrelevant. But but I did like the puzzle stuff, and it comparing it to Fisherman's Tale, there were some interesting twists, and like I guess it's obvious that it doesn't have to be exactly the same. The puzzles don't have to be exactly the same, just because the main mechanic is the same. But I was digging it, so I guess I came around a little bit on it. I've been playing Control, about halfway through that, and I'm trying to think what point, Frank, did you start having big issues with this game?
I would say 3.5 hours in. They started to mount.
Okay. So I assume I'm past that. I mean, I definitely...
When you start depending on the map heavily, the first area of the map is not that important. The longer you go and the more important the map becomes, the more frustrating it is, by far. The more mechanics that get introduced, I don't want to say which one because it's kind of a spoiler. It's on the same button as jump, and it sucks.
Okay, I don't think I'm there yet, but...
Can you...
The map...
No? Okay.
No. The map is an issue, but the bigger issue I had is there's a couple points where I got stuck, and it really didn't do a good job of, like, there was something where there was a door that was blocked by, like, the red, whatever stuff, whatever that is. And there was, like, a couple little, like, weird glowing things that I remember had to shoot. That part. To open the door, and I even went to like one walkthrough was just like, yeah, go past this door, turn left here, do this, and it did not mention shooting the things. So I was like, what am I doing wrong here? And it was driving me nuts. But so yeah, definitely just the navigation in the game is not great.
The checkpoint system sucks. Bosses, especially ones that are high off the ground and the floor, you cannot see the gaps in the floor. It's always this black marble material. In the tutorial areas where you get new powers, same thing. I would miss jumps all the time or not see gaps in the floor. Learning the different block mechanics and shield mechanics, those tutorials were pretty clunky as well. I mean, it's an okay game, but game of the year, Sean, you got to be seeing what I'm saying here. Like, it is... I keep forgetting how it gave a game of the year, to be perfectly honest. I'm not saying that trying to antagonize or,
of the year.
Chirp Huck over there, but I
mean, the gunplay feels pretty good. I like that part of it. And I like the presentation and the atmosphere. Some of the dialogue and stuff's definitely a little bit goofy. And there's elements where I feel like the game thinks it's weirder than it really
Exactly.
is. If that makes any sense.
It's WandaVision, the game.
Kind of. But, I'm still enjoying it. I'm, like I said, I'm about halfway through, and I'm still kind of, every now and then I'm jumping off to something else, but I keep coming back to it. So I'll try and get through it. Anything else for you, Huck?
Yeah, I got two more things. So I went back and I finished The Suicide of Rachel Foster, which, to remind people, it's basically just like an exploration game, walking simulator. You're in a hotel that the woman you play as family owned, and your mother has passed away. So now you have to you're basically there to determine if you should sell it or keep it. And it is really good. I played the last time I played it, I think I played the first 40 minutes or so, and it hadn't really gotten anywhere with the story. It was kind of just going through the paces, setting up the environment and stuff. So, and the other great thing is it's only 2.5 hours long, 2.5, 3 hours long. And it was perfectly paced, perfect amount of gameplay. I did it in 2 sittings. The story was interesting. It's kind of got this thriller suspense thing that goes on where there's stuff that kind of keeps you on edge in it, which is really, really well done. The audio is really good. Great environments. Looks incredible. And I thought the storytelling was really well done. It's basically like Firewatch. If Firewatch met Gone Home and was better, is how I would kind of describe it. So if anyone liked either of those 2 games, I would highly recommend this game. It did lack some game mechanics, but it definitely had more game mechanics than Gone Home. Gone Home was really you walk through the environment, you pick up stuff, you read it, you put it back. That's it. That's the whole game. Firewatch had some more game mechanics, and I felt like this game had maybe a little more interesting game mechanics than Firewatch, but less overall. But some of the mechanics were kind of clunky. There was this microphone is kind of the last game mechanic you get, where you're trying to listen to kind of faraway sounds, and you're trying to track things through this hotel. And it's really not intuitive as to where, how exactly to follow it, which is kind of too bad, because there is so few game mechanics in the game other than walking around, that when you have one, you hope it's highly polished and works really well. But overall, I would recommend it. I really liked it. And the story was good. The ending was a little weird as far as what happened, but you do have a choice. So I'm not sure if my choice was different than the other, how different it was at the end. But yeah, I thought overall really well done. Really nice, kind of suspense, kind of keeps you on your toes for a good chunk of that section. And there's a nice little twist at the end that's that I saw coming, but was still enjoyable. And yeah, I don't know. Do you have something else, Frank?
Just keep playing Nioh 2, and I want to stress, I'm almost done this game. I've talked about this a bit before, but the game introduces a countering system known as the burst counter. And, I mean, I still feel like, maybe 10 years from now, I want a documentary about Sekiro versus Nioh. There's something going on here. And in Nioh 2, the burst counter clearly, to me, feels like a reaction to what I've said is one of the best, if not the best, game mechanic in the last 10 years, which is the Maquette counter in Sekiro. And this is their version of it, and it is so clumsy and so annoying. There's 3 different versions of it. To effectively do it, you have to hit a trigger and another button, and you take damage almost every time when you do it. It sucks. I hate doing it. It's it is so bad as a counter, pardon the pun, to the Maquette counter, and it's It's so annoying. It was so much better without this Makiri counter, or without the burst counter. And I'm making my way through. It's just another example of a game that adds too much stuff. It was fine the way it was, and they was like, "Well, it's a sequel. We got to add a million things." Stop, please stop doing this, Ori. I'm looking at you. Some other games I'll think of after we're done recording, but it's driving me crazy.
Okay. I got one other thing I can mention. I did kind of, over the last week or two, start playing Little Nightmares. I know the second one just came out. What I understand, the first one's pretty short, so I thought I'd give it a whirl. And I am liking it. I mean, it's kind of, I would compare it to Limbo and Inside, I guess, although I do like those games more so far. There's some control things that bug me about it. Like you played a bit of it, right, Frank?
Very little to say anything.
It's just like the movement is really slow, and maybe that's on purpose because it's kind of a horror game, but it just gets a bit frustrating because especially the checkpoints are spaced out quite a bit. So then you kind of, if you die, you start pretty far back, and then it takes a long time to walk all the way back to where you were. And there is a run button, but it's still not that fast. And just some of the, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It feels sluggish, I guess. Like, trying to climb up on things and you got to grab onto ledges, and it just always feels like you're a little bit behind the movement and the button press. So, that's a little bit frustrating, but I like the look of it. I like, the story, the sort of the hints of story that are parceled out to you, and I like the puzzles. So it's kind of in my wheelhouse for the most part. But I'm actually more curious to see what part 2 is, because I feel like if they just improved on this, then I'm gonna love part 2. So we'll see.
Oh, go ahead.
Did you claim that on Stadia, Frank? Because I think it was free last month.
I think so, yeah. I usually, when I see my monthly purchase announcement, that's when I usually sign in, claim everything, and never play it. So I'm guessing I did.
Okay. Just checking.
Thanks for that.
Seemed like that was the cheapest way to get the game, too, even if you just signed up for a month of Stadia. I guess you probably can't claim it now, though, right? It's only like a 1 month.
I have Little Nightmares 2.
You do?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
It's in my library.
Perfect.
My library.
Beautiful. That your comment about the movement speed reminded me of something about the Suicide of Rachel Foster. It is painfully slow, and even holding shift to run constantly is still like, this is what the normal walk speed should be, and then there should be maybe a run after that. That is one of my complaints about the game, is it is painfully slow if you were to not run the whole time. Now, I don't know, I was playing with mouse and keyboard, so maybe if I used analog stick, maybe the movement would be a little better, but it was not good. And the last thing I tried, kind of dipping back into nostalgia, was Castlevania Lords of Shadow, which I grabbed off Game Pass, and
I played this a while ago, and it's so good. I need to get back to it.
I forgot how incredible this game was. I think when I played it originally, I think I only played like the first 10 minutes and was like, wow, this game's great, and then never went back. But now I sat and put in, an hour and a half straight. I got quite far, probably like the 4th area, and I was loving it. I mean, it was incredible, like how good this game was. I forgot. Now, there is a little bit of clunkiness with the camera because it's fixed camera for the most part, or actually every part. So that's a little old school, but other than that, I mean, it's really, really good. The combat feels great. Having the secrets kind of around is nice. What other they have like a throwing dagger mechanic.
Yeah, the
upgrade system.
The special abilities, like the knives or whatever, that's really satisfying. And again, it was a game I got so obsessed with getting every achievement and trophy in that I just kind of kept redoing areas and not just beating it for the first time. And I need to go back to it because it is solid.
Yeah, it's really good, and they seem to, the pacing that they've been introducing new mechanics is perfect so far. So you start with the whip, and then you get the daggers, and then you get, some added on whip mechanics that you get,
and the
through your
riding
upgrade
stuff.
tree. Yeah, then they add the riding, and then they add the chain climbing type stuff, and the whip mechanic to swing around stuff. It's just, so far it's just really well paced, and I can't believe I didn't beat this game when it came out, because it is much better than I remember. Highly recommend.
Should add it's was a joint venture with Kojima, I think.
This game was?
I'm pretty sure Kojima was involved in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, this is from 2010. I don't think I ever finished it either. I remember playing the 3DS one that they did that was kind of based on this, but it was more of like a 2.5D one. But I remember liking it as well. It just made me think, like, what was the last Castlevania game?
Lords of Shadow 2, no?
Yeah, probably.
It must
didn't
be.
Konami say they're not making?
Unless you count the 2D ones. There's like Dawn of Sorrow or whatever, and...
No, Lords of Shadow 2 is way after that.
Yeah,
Is it?
And Mirror of Fate, yeah.
all the 2D ones were like original DS, I think.
Oh,
no.
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah, the Lords of Shadow one was on 3DS, Mirror of Fate, but the other ones were all on...
But Mirror of Fate came out first in between Lords of Shadow 1 and 2 on arcade, right? 360 arcade and PSN.
So is it just that Konami's like, yeah, this franchise is dead? Like, it seems
No,
weird.
they're not making...
They got...
I thought Konami wasn't publishing anything non-mobile and stuff.
They did say that. I never know like how seriously to take stuff like that.
But seems pretty serious. I don't think they've published anything.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But, I mean, they have this Netflix series, which I've never really watched, but
really?
people seem to love it.
It's very good.
So it kind of seems weird that, like, why would you not take advantage of that and be like, let's make a new Castlevania game?
I didn't realize it had been that long. I thought for sure there was something between Lords of Shadow 2 and now. But, yeah, there's nothing.
I guess maybe
That's
Pro
7
Evolution
years.
Soccer they do is the only other thing.
Yeah, Metal Gear Survive.
Yeah, there was like
that's
some
cool.
weird iOS puzzle Castlevania game that came out a while back too, but
What is HelloFresh? HelloFresh.
Sorry. I clicked on I searched Konami and there was this random YouTube video from 2 weeks ago. Report: Konami games tank so bad they're open to other studios making Metal Gear, Silent Hill, etc. So I don't know.
yeah, there's been some re-releases of like old Castlevania games. There was a collection that came out a year or two ago, but that's it.
That seems like a franchise that should always have something in the pipe, like ready to go at, every couple of years. Such a rich sort of lore to pull from.
I mean, even if they started milking the Metroid-like Castlevania games on arcade or Switch or whatever, like, seems like a no-brainer.
Well, and what was the 2D game that came out? It wasn't Bloodlines. It was
Bloodstain?
It was Bloodstain. Yeah. So that was by the guy who made Symphony of the Night, right?
Spiritual successor, yes, to Symphony.
Spiritual. So I mean, that's sort of like, I guess, the best we've gotten recently, and the most close to it.
I gotta go back to that one too.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I played a bit of it, but
Started off good. The power mechanic, like where you could move things, and it was a little weird navigating the world. Like I liked the idea of the 2.5D camera, or maybe this was the precursor to the 2.9D camera of Oddworld. But like there were some like spiral areas that were a little confusing, and the map also was a little confusing. But I did like what I played.
yeah.
Combat was pretty solid. All right, I think that's it. Anyone else have anything they played?
Nope, that's it.
All right, thanks for listening and checking us out on youtube.com/GameJunk. And check out My Angry Commute and Equilibrium Sis for Andrew, Huck, on Twitter and Film Junk for Sean. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.